Morning.
Morning, morning. How's it going, Alex?
Monday morning here in South Florida, so getting back into it here.
Yeah, I'm in
So,
Phoenix right now on a blitz, and it is like amazing outside, like not hot somehow. Are
what is it,
you?
like 7 o'clock there?
Yeah, but it's still usually almost triple digits by this point. It's like beautiful.
Nice.
What part of South Florida?
Fort Lauderdale.
Nice, nice. You what do you sell?
Investment, financial services, retirement planning.
Nice.
Yeah, I got into the 3.0 on Friday.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I was in 2.0 for about a week before that and decided to ante up.
Right. No, I freaking love mine. I came across this stuff like 4 years ago. Well, I actually came across him when he did door to door like forever ago, like '02. And he was the man, but then our paths crossed again. He like disappeared. He was the number one dude in alarms, and then he disappeared. And then I saw like he had some advertising and same thing. It was like some monthly thing, and then he finally, like 4 years ago, it was a little bit different, but he was announcing one-on-one coaching for 10 clients. It was like 25 grand. I was like, fuck you, let's do this, motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd never really had any formal sales training, so.
Look like you're in some dope cabin somewhere, man.
It's an old farmhouse type thing, but it's a loft, so it's cool.
I like it. Clay, good to have you here. Eliza, good to have you here. Nick, Oscar, Gray, my man Bill Conley.
What's up, Joe?
It's getting it. Clay is rocking out hardcore right now. What song you listening to, Clay?
That's actually kind of funny.
I'm stalking. I got my stalker on.
Yeah, dude, it's kind of funny that you say that because it was like playing as I was getting on Zoom, and I was like, hey Google, play like 2010 hits, and what was playing was "Wasted" by Gucci Mane. If you remember that guy.
Yeah, that's funny. I didn't want to ruin your little feel good moment there, my man.
Oh, dude, couldn't ruin it if you tried.
Love it. Lucas, how's it going, brother?
What's up, Joe? How are you, bro?
Good.
On
At
the
what
grind,
age
man.
were you able to? How old were you when you were able to grow that perfect beard?
Oh boy, it's still in the works, man. Started
Stop
coming
it.
in like two or 3 years ago, 2023.
Okay.
We're getting there. I'm
Nice,
sure
nice.
Alex can probably get that thing in like 2 days. Easy, easy.
He's like, catch me at 3:00.
Yeah.
As the older I get, the faster my hair grows. It's weird. Blessing and a curse.
Okay, blessing
Just
and a
keep
curse.
the stash. So besides Alex, anybody else in here that does not do solar?
I do retail roofing and siding.
Retail roofing and siding. I'm sure a bunch of solar companies probably try to like team up with you.
We've had a couple reach out.
Look at the ops. And don't talk to them about the ops. Go to the ops manager or go to the customer.
I met with a rep one time.
Oh, wrong person, brother.
Yeah. What were you in, Joe?
I've been doing residential solar forever.
Where are you located?
At the moment, This company's paying me to train the dudes in Phoenix. She'll be in Phoenix till the end of August.
Do you move around?
Not normally, but I'm actually. But if you if you look at what I did, I'd be a hypocrite. I live in Vegas, and then California had like a huge change. What was that? April 14th. So I basically had an Airbnb all over California up until then. So I was in Cali for about 9 months, taking advantage of the situation there before it went away.
Nice. Hell yeah.
So, when I was in Vegas, and then my buddy got a thing going on out here, and so decided to get the party started in good old
Nice.
Phoenix. Somehow, this is the first time knocking doors in Phoenix. Actually,
How big of a team do they have?
23 dudes.
Damn. Hell yeah.
Yeah. They and we'll get in next week's call is actually specifically about this, and I can't wait to go over it with you guys. This area out here, it seems like everyone from California kind of came over here, and I ended up like it was some of the more saturated markets that I've been in for sure. Like it like the first day, the first two doors I knocked, I was like, cool, got them, and then the next day I was just like, holy shit, it was insane, and so I had to switch up some things, pull up some bag of tricks to be able to get it. So, on a quick side note, before we get this party started, because sometimes, and this will make more sense after next week's call, but sometimes they feel so strongly about their objection. It's like on an identity level, not just an idea, but an identity level. And when that's the case, there's this little formula I got from a brainwashing expert, and he weaponized the grief model, which is super interesting because in a sense, part of them needs to die to be able to move on, and it's a quick little process that you can kind of push somebody through to help them through that. But if they've only been in the house for like a year, then everything was cool. But if I was like on Redfin, I saw they'd been in the house for over a year, I was like, I already know these guys have been completely fucking hammered. Like 3 out of the 5 days I was in the hood and there's already people in the hood pitching them with solar. So it's like, okay, how would you go about that, right? And so anyways, we'll get into that more. Today's going to be back going through the presentation. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. Today's going to be about the close, and then and then whatever objections you might get at the end of it, and we'll role play that. Whatever sticky points you guys might be having. Door is like a little bit different. There's a lot of there's a lot going on. There's more dynamics at play, which can help you or hurt you. Alex, you can't be there hitting on the wife, dude. Okay, some husbands are jealous and they'll get in a power struggle with you, dude. Right?
Oh, that's what I didn't know this was door-to-door training, but if it's cool with you, I'll sit in on it. I don't do any door-to-door, but I think I'll get something from it.
Yeah, the presentation door is really simple. Well, it's not simple. There's a lot going on, so you got to be really, really quick on the doorstep. At this point, like Miner has it, 8-week academy, and each week is a certain thing. We're on the last week, and so we're in the presentation. But yeah, for sure, you stay as long as you want, man.
Joe, I don't do door-to-door either, but I was told by my accountability coach to hop in regarding my script and ask you about that.
Do it. And if you have a specific question, shoot it to me on Facebook Messenger. Like, I love this stuff. I'm always thinking about this stuff. And Monitor doesn't pay me for that, but I don't care. I love that guy to death. And when I get to it, I'll be able to help out specifically with that. But I'd love to help whatever you guys might be going with. The recordings are always best, man. Like whenever you're live, whatever, there's so much going on. That's what we're able to help with most. But let's get the party started, man. You guys read that?
Yeah.
Cool. So with solar, I literally have where are we going? I'll literally have this down the middle. And I'll be like, well, whatever their utility bill is, like 187. And I literally just draw a line. And this needs to be in front of them. The sooner the better. This always has to stay in front of them. Because they're not going to make that comparison. And they couldn't make it if they wanted to. Because if the utility company, they call the utility company, could the utility company even tell them how much the bill's going to be over the next 10 years, or the next 25 years, right? And so I keep it so simple. We get lost in all these graphs, and it's like they get confused, man. They're so overwhelmed. If you go back to your customers, and if you ever had a customer give you a referral and you hear them explain it, it's like, okay, what in the hell? Like, I'm glad you're happy, but they're not very good at that, right? But who's having some so you got a little 3-step formula here. You got the transition. I'll ask that concept question if they're younger. What happens if you don't do anything about this, though? Keep raising your rates every year like they have. And they're like 75, 80 years old. Still pay the utility bills every month. I'll ask that one if they're younger. If they're older, I'll ask what happens if you don't do anything about this and your situation gets even worse. If they're old people. And then at this point, there's usually, I don't say how important is it. I'm like, okay, cool. Sounds like time to make a change possibly. And like, okay, cool. I'm like, yeah, that's all I really need to know. And then we worked on the transition last week. But when it comes down to the presentation stage, it's like, well, what I could do with your permission is I can go over some of the details about how we're able to like lower your rate, lock that in, and the numbers about like how much we're able to like lower your bill and what that actually means for you guys over the next 5, 10, 15, 20, even 25 years where you eventually don't have a bill again. Would that help you if I did that? Okay, cool. So remember how you're saying everyone in solar, it's always high bills is where you always get the most traction. Like them being able to raise the rates without their permission. That's where you usually get the most traction. But one of the biggest problems that people have when they come to us is they don't really realize that they're overpaying for power. And because of that, utility companies, gosh, man, they're charging everybody in the entire city about 8% more for your power without you being able to do anything about it. And so the way that we sell that for our clients like you is we start by limiting your electric bill that's always going up. And then we design a system that's going to produce more power than what you're currently using for a fraction of what you would pay to the utility company. So with solar, there's no guessing. Like that's what a lot of the homeowners like especially John, retired on a fixed income. Like we know exactly how much this power is going to produce over the next 30 years. Like if they put a 400-watt panel on your roof and it gets, 1,500 direct sunlight, it's going to produce what it produces, no more, no less. We can't change how much sun hits your house, but that also lets it, and sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes that's not a bad thing. And so there's just no guessing. They know exactly how much energy your house, your system's going to produce, anyways. And so another thing that people like about it, especially now, like instead of relying on like this 130-year-old power grid, like when's the last time you guys heard the sun breaking down? Exactly, like the sun goes up, bill goes down. Now with solar, this is super, super important. This part, I don't know how many people still don't get this right. It drives me batshit crazy. So the first time I'm saying a number is right here. And the number that I'm saying is the number that they're going to save over 10 years. Before they know what the monthly is, it's a recency bias. Okay. I've shown this example before. When we go over to the utility debt calculator, even if their bill is $100 and the solar is more, 115 bucks. Okay. But if you look, technically year 9 is the year 10 on that one, right? At year 10, it's 22,000, 26,000, $26,528 compared to 14,400. That's a little over 12 grand. And this is saying that it's going to go up 7%, which doesn't even include inflation. So it's conservative. So the first thing that I'm going to say with this person is, when you go back to the script, is we're still not going to save a ton initially. You're only going to save around 12,000, whatever the exact amount is, over the next 10 years. And then after 25 years, no more electric bill. So they hear that number, their decisions based on that number. Okay. Like in their mind, they're like, hell yeah, they're already doing it at that point. I can't say with solar, you're not going to save a ton initially. Like it's going to be $120 instead of the 120. It's going to be $120 instead of the $100 you're paying now. And then show them that graph. It won't work. It won't sink in. It doesn't work. So everyone's complains about how to sell in a market where there isn't much savings. Well, I sold and installed 918 kilowatts in 6 months. Sold and installed, just me, in a market that was kind of shit. Like half my customers had to pay more, and I did. But you got to change. If you want to change the way that they look at it, there's a couple different ways to do that. You can change the context. Sometimes you want to change their camera angle, right? So sometimes you want to like zoom in on one house, get hyper focused. Like when they talk about rate hikes, like hold on, rate hikes. How do you mean? Tell me more about that. How has that an impact on you? In what way? We want to like super zoom in, and then sometimes you want to zoom way the hell out so we can see the whole globe, right? And that's one of the ways that you can change the way that they're looking at it. And so obviously when there's no savings, we need them to zoom way the hell out. And so anyways, just one thing with solar, you're not going to save a ton initially. You're only going to save around, 12,000 over the next 10 years. And then, after 25 years, no more electric bill. You just be able to keep that money instead of, being forced to pay in energy a month. This is your house. This is where the panels will be located. And so I usually, depending on the area where I'm at, the market, and what design tools, sometimes I use this. Oh gosh. Sometimes I'll use this as an example. Let's say this is the customer's house, but sometimes I use this as 2 bills. If you guys ever get a question about 2 bills, like I'll use this one. This is what 2 bills looks like. This is a customer's house, all these little blue panels. These are all solar panels. We can't actually fit any more panels on there. It may look like there's room, but they also have to make room for firefighters in case your house catches fire. So that's actually all we can produce. If you look down at the very bottom middle where it says expected usage, this guy uses almost 32,000 kilowatts a year. And how much is the solar going to produce? Only 52%. So this is what two bills looks like. This is how I go about handling the two bills, if you guys ever get that, by the way. But that's the only design that I have. So on Solo is probably the most common design software. I'll show the house right here about the panels, the breakdown, how many panels, and then you get the system size on the far left. You guys see that 12.095? I'm like, okay, cool. This is kind of you see the discrepancy here, 12.095 and 16,484. You see that discrepancy? That's actually good because, like, technically speaking, a 12.095 kilowatt should only be producing 12,095 kilowatts a year. But because of the amount of direct sunlight your house is getting, it's not producing 12,095 kilowatts a year. It's producing 16,484. So each panel is producing about what, like 140% efficiency, 120% efficiency, whatever that is. And so it just takes less panels to be able to produce your power, if that makes sense. This house is actually in Vegas, and mounting plane number 2 right there, you can see how much direct sunlight is on there. Anyways, so when I go to the good old presentation, this is your house. These are the panels. This is how much energy your home uses in a year. This is how much your system actually produces in a year. You're able to offset 100% of your power, so none of this two bill stuff. And then it's like, any questions on that before we get into numbers? And then when I get into numbers, I literally have the utility debt calculator already pulled up. It's not like, so instead of paying this, it's this. Over 25 years, 25 years is too far out. It doesn't sink home. And so I'm like, over 10 years, it'll be this versus this. 25 years from now, the world will probably end. I don't know if there'll still be a world, but instead of paying $121,438 and still have an electric bill coming in every month, it would just be $36,000 and no bill. You see the difference in that? Like, that's insane. It's like, what would a financial advisor say? Like, nobody should ever effing say no to solar if you keep this in front of them at all times. When you leave, you need this with your freaking magnet. Have a business. I use RepCard, which is awesome, but I'll also have my card, which is also a magnet, so that I can have this sheet or a sheet that I fill out and put it on their freaking fridge. So when they leave, when they see solar, this is all they see. You have to control what they see to an extent. You need to make that comparison. The only reason people will ever freaking cancel is they're not doing this comparison. Okay. And they're not going to do it on their own. That's like the biggest battle. And so you have to keep that present in front of their mind. And then you don't want to be excited about the savings. With solar, you're not going to save a ton initially, be this instead of this. Yeah. So any questions? We're getting numbers. Okay, cool. And this is true. This isn't just malarkey. Like, sometimes the utility companies will reject. The first area I was in 2011 was Jersey, and there was literally a neighborhood that was maxed out. Like, which is usually, it doesn't take much. It's about 30% of a neighborhood usually, where you could submit it and it's going to get rejected. I think most of Hawaii's kind of like that, or at least it was a couple of years ago. And so they actually can deny it. Like, you could say yes, and it could come back denied, even if they wanted to, even if the house checks out, even if it's perfect. So right now, if your application gets denied for whatever reason, you would just have to keep paying NV Energy like amount over the next 10 years. Now, if we get approved, which, looks like we can, instead of having to pay NV Energy the $24,613, it would just be around $12K with solar. So you'll be protected from the monthly rate hikes, and your rate is going to be permanently locked in at just $96 a month instead of, whatever they feel like charging every month. I didn't even put the monthly rate there instead of whatever they feel like charging every month. And then I don't spend too much time on this because I don't want them to be like, I want to talk to my tax guy first, right? So it's like, no, you can also take advantage of the federal tax credit if you qualify. That's literally as much time as I spend on that. This is the total value of the system. Don't say that out. This is the total value of the system. Just point to it. This is how much you'll get from federal tax credit. You can say that one out loud. And this is the total value of the system after the tax credit. Any questions on how that works? And then, cool, once the solar's up and running, that's when the switch will actually begins. That's when you would officially replace that electric bill with just that fixed rate. And then eventually, because you're in solar, no more bill. The reason why most people come to us is they look at it like owning a home versus renting a home. So like instead of paying, 97,000, over the next 25 years, so to sell and pay a bill, it would just be, 30 grand, and then 25 years, you never get a bill again. You keep that money. And but like a renter landlord utility, they force you to pay every month. Anyways, so if it all ends up working out, instead of this, it'd be that. And then we're getting a little ahead of ourselves at this point, though. My first committing question that I actually asked, I turned it into a committee question. Technically, it's a check-in question, and it's not even on the script. Is we need to get going, but just at this point, do you feel comfortable with what we've covered just up to this point? And the majority of the time they say yeah, and then I probe off of that. Hold on, why though? Why do you feel comfortable though? And then that's when they tell me all their hot buttons. It's amazing. I remember the first time asking that, I feel like a dumbass. Ask it. Freaking ask it. And then okay, well, and then the other one that I like to use is do you feel like this is something you can do that will get you what you're wanting? And they'll just say yes. It's like, cool. Well, I don't really have anything else to go over. Looks like we I covered what you might be looking for. Really, the next step is we have to authorize the agreement so we can schedule a survey to make sure it meets the program requirements. Would that be appropriate? And if they say yes to that, I've had it happen once where we're halfway through signing the homeowner wanted to like hold on, like wanted to hold off. And then I literally boxed minor in the middle of the sale, told them. And then minor comes back over boxer and says, how are you going to save money every month unless you go solar? And then the guy was quiet for about 3 seconds, feels longer, but it's about 3 seconds. And he's like, yeah, that's right. And then just went along signing. So if you do your job right, it's just teed up all the way through. Less is almost more in solar. But anyways, I want to hear what you guys are running into. What are the sticky points? I don't want to role play that with some of you guys. What's like the first thought or question that pops in your mind? I say that on the doorstep all the time as well, to help get some, to help see how they're seeing it. So on the presentation, the most important thing is just keeping the number over 10 years first. Even after I leave and they're like, hey, yeah, how much was the total system? Oh yeah, instead of paying 130 grand, it would just be 60 grand and then no more bill. Just curious, can I ask why you asked that? Like if sometimes homeowners might ask you that after you leave. You have to get under the concern. Gotta get under the concern. Anytime that's a question, they're trying to bring something. You want to be able to think out loud with them. When you ask why they asked that, they don't have a script prepared for that. And so they're going to think out loud with you, which is beautiful. And when that happens, it's helped. In their eyes, you're the only one that can help them because you know more about the situation. So most people don't think that they need to probe deeper on such things. So rule of thumb, anytime they ask the same question twice, you have to ask why they asked that. Have to. I literally, to this day, still got this stupid rubber band that minor made me wear, where I have to smack the shit out myself anytime I assume I know what they're asking and I don't clarify. And then once you have a recording and then someone else points that out, you're like, ah, shit, okay, cool. next time you're in that situation, you will have a thought. You will have a prompting where you previously didn't have that prompting before. But until then, it's in your blind spot. You don't know what you don't know. And it just helps, really, it helps to catch where you're making assumptions. Because you could answer every question they have and not even resolve their concern. And that's a lot of times where you get like, I want to think about it, this, that, and the other. Oscar, what's your script? What's your presentation? You want to role play that? Want to go through that? Where you at? I know you sent me some messages.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and role play. I personally right now I'm just on the doors as a setter, but I'll role play. Why not?
Okay. Anybody in yeah, we could do that. Anybody that is closing solar appointments.
Yeah, this means Joseph Sergio, but I haven't got it memorized.
Sergio, are you able to offer those panels like that, you son of a gun?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you projection wise, like a PPA. Is that what you're asking? If we can do PPAs or loans?
I'm talking about your screensaver.
Oh yeah, Robbie is the original. He's probably about 20 minutes around from he's the first company I work with. We've done probably, I think they've done like 50 of them in Dallas. They're offering them in Florida.
Anybody, yeah. Everybody would love those, by the way. Anyways.
They're too expensive. So they're using, they're the only company who can finance the product. So they're upcharging everybody. So that's why I don't do a lot.
But like too expensive compared to what? Like there's an assumption there, right? And so it's your job to make that comparison.
Yeah, you're right. No, but they look sweet. They look even better in person, but they're probably the coolest thing you've ever seen.
Yeah, let's role play. Let me share my screen. Sergio.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's go from, I'll be your customer. Let's go from right here, where the presentation stage, what I can do.
Okay, you want me to start presentation?
Yeah, and just go down to right here where it says, this is your house, these are your panels. I mean, well, actually just go down to here with your solar. So let's role play from here and then I'll move it along.
All right. Let's see here. Okay, so you want me to present to you?
Yeah, I want to hear what you're saying.
Oh shoot. Okay, here he goes. All right, so okay, Joseph. So with your permission, so I can go over some of the details. So if we're able to lock in your rate permanently, show you the numbers, we're able to lower your bill, and see what that means for you guys over the next 5, 10, 15, 20, or 25 years. That way you
Pause. One thing that I did that I need to get in the habit of, and I'm not doing this, I'm being a hypocrite here, and I need to get in the habit of it, is hands, using your effing hands. So much of what we're communicating isn't in words, we know it's body language and tonality, right? And so like anytime we're going to talk about rate hikes, locking it in. Okay, let me do this real quick.
Yeah, I'm usually in person. I don't do any Zooms, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. Like, so it's like, yeah, really want to like lower the rate and keep it low compared to what you're paying right now. The hand gestures, like I'm not in the habit of that. Smack my shit. So instead of paying whatever the fortune pay, it's huge. It's huge. It's a just $7 fucking, dude. It hits different. You're not going to say $7, but you go like lower your rate, keep it in versus what they're making you pay now. Like saving money, lowering your bill, locking in, and just the hand gestures are like, it just gives a completely different feel. They literally feel like they're saving a lot just by the hands instead of like whatever they're making you pay. It's just lowered, locked in permanently. Okay.
Right.
Let me go back. Let me get that thing in front of you. There we go. I want to see them hand gestures, baby. Let's go.
Okay.
Start again from the top.
Okay, so what I can do with your permission is I can go over some of the details. If you're able to lock in your rate permanently and the numbers of how much you're able to lower your bill, what that means for you guys over the next 5, 10, 15, 20, even 25 years, where you eventually don't have a bill again. Would that help you if I did that?
Yeah.
Okay. Remember when you said you hate receiving those high summer bills? Well, okay. You were concerned because you don't want the bill to keep going up year after year because you already feel financially strapped as it is and you couldn't imagine the bill go up anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, one of the biggest problems.
I delete that. Like, remember I said like I hate receiving like those high summer bills. I didn't see your hands or something like that. Remember when you said you hate receiving like those high, summer bills and you were concerned because you didn't want to like your bill to like keep going up year after year. Hand gestures, okay? Because you already feel, kind of financially strapped as is. Well, and then I just say, well, I don't even wait for them. Well, one of the biggest problems people have when they come to us is, so I know it's a question mark, but on that one, I just kind of roll through it. So go again.
All right, so let's see here. All right. Okay, here he goes. So do you say address him by their name Joseph or you just go non-Joseph? Okay, so we just not non-Joseph, just crib. Okay. What I can do with your permission is go over you some of the details. We're able to lock in your rate permanently and numbers and see the numbers of how much.
Hand gesture.
Okay. Okay. What I can do with your permission is I can go over some of the details of how we're to lock in your rate permanently.
Say lock in,
to lock in your rate permanently.
No, don't point like lock in. You see how mine? There we go. Lock in your rate permanently. Perfect. There we go.
I can do is go over some of the details, how we're able to lock in your rate permanently and the numbers, how much we're able to lower your bill and what that means for you guys over the next 5, 10, 15, 20, even 25 years, where eventually you don't have a bill again. Like, would that help if I did that for you?
Yeah. So when you're going over a time period, you're going to go laterally, side to side. When you're going over like low bills, high bills, it's going to be up or down. And you can have both hands up there. Okay.
Sweet.
So,
okay.
So when you go over 5, 10, 15, you're going to be moving your hands laterally.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then when locking your rate, it's going to be up and down. High summer bill is going to be high, low, or time period side to side.
Oh, I see. Sweet. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So try one more
Again,
time.
remember.
What I can do with your permission, so I can go over some of the details, how if we're able to lock in your rate permanently and the numbers on how much we're able to lower your bill and what that means for you guys over the next 5, 10, 15, even 25 years, or eventually don't have a bill again. Like would that help you if I did that?
Yeah.
Remember when you said you hate receiving those high bills?
There we go.
You were concerned because you don't want your bill to keep going up year after year, because you feel you financially strapped as you couldn't manage the bill going up anymore.
Yeah, up anymore. That one's kind of like year after year could be that would be going up and down. So that actually went up. You found a scenario where you're talking about time, but you would go up and down. Remember when you said that you hate receiving like those high, summer bills, and you were concerned because you don't want your bills to keep going up year after year after year. That's my hand's going to go up on that point, right?
Year after
And
year.
because because you're already feeling that money's kind of tight. Yeah. Well, one of the biggest problems people have when they come to us. So let's go. What I can do with your permission is I can go over some of the details of how we're able to like lock in your rate permanently, and the numbers of like how much we're able to like lower your bill, and what would that mean for you guys over the next 5, 10, 15, 20, even 25 years, where eventually don't have a bill. Would that help if I did that? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So remember when you said like you hate receiving one of those high hands up, high summer bills, and you were concerned because you don't want your bill to keep going up year after year after year. Hand up, cool. And because of that, you're kind of annoyed, kind of bugged. Like you want to harvest their adjectives.
Right.
Okay. So hopefully throughout that presentation, they talked about something that they like, talked about something they don't like. If I say something that I like, I usually say the word rad. I'm from Idaho. I don't have the biggest vocabulary. I say rad. If I don't like it, I'm like, that's some shit. So I would use their exact adjective. So harvest, whatever adjectives that they use, remember that, write that shit down. Because if I use the word rad to describe something, he says rad, I get all the feels when he says that. And vice versa for things that we don't like. So that's the only thing that I would add to this is we're going to be harvesting their adjectives. So however they describe something positive, amazing is the most popular one. And then how to describe things they don't like to the utility company. So whatever adjectives they use, that's what I would also put in there. So they're going to bitch about something specifically, but what word did they use to convey that? And harvest their adjectives. Huge.
I see. Okay, mirror those. Yeah. Okay, so the good and the bad in their words. Okay.
Just their adjectives. Just harvest their adjectives.
Okay. The way you describe. Okay, and that's you learn that in situation beginning. Okay. Sweet.
Throughout the presentation.
Okay.
Throughout your interaction with them, you will. So go through it one more time. Go through it one time. I'm starting to get it real quick.
All right. Sweet. So okay. So what I can do with your permission is I can go over some of the details of how we're able to lock in your rate permanently, and in terms of how much we're able to lower your bill that way, and what that means for you guys over the next 5, 10, 15, 20, even 25 years. Eventually, we don't have to pay a bill again. Like, would that help you if I did that?
Yeah.
Remember when you said you hit receiving those high summer bills, and retired on fixed income, and you were concerned because you don't want your bill to keep going up year after year after year, and being on a retired fixed income because you're already financially strapped and as is, and you couldn't imagine the bill going up anymore. Okay.
Well, and then go into number one.
Gotcha. Okay.
I don't wait for them to answer right there. I just go, well, one of the biggest problems people have.
Sweet. Okay.
Like I'm not actually looking for a response there.
Okay. So you just go into it. They're thinking about it. And you just okay.
Well, one of the biggest problems people have when they come to us is that they don't really realize that they're overpaying for power. And because of that, the utility companies are charging everybody, the entire city, like 7-8% more for your power without you, being able to do anything about it. So the way that we solve it for your clients like you is, and we start by eliminating your electric bill that, hand gestures always going up. And then we design a system that's going to produce more power than what you're currently using for a fraction of the pie. Like hand gestures, hand gestures, hand gestures. Anyways, nice. Practice that so that's just like on autopilot.
Yep.
Actually, let me Samantha, good to see you. Let me pull this up real quick.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
In that point, would you tell them how much the rates have gone up in their area? Like if it's like in Florida, it was like 20% last year. It's about to be like 30% this year. That's when you'd say that?
Yeah. And whatever's obviously like to our advantage. I'm not going to say over the last 5. I'll say over 5 years if it's the most over 5 years. Just last year, just over last year. Like last year alone, they went up X amount. Yeah. So whatever time period favors us, right?
And can I say that like historically, if Phil's raised the rate by 5 to 8%, but last year was 20, and this year it's gonna be 30. So like, how do you, like you're on a fixed income and you want to be saving that money every month? Like, is that something I can add into that area?
Use it like in situation questions or like in situation questions. Electric bills, tell me a little bit about those. I know most of you are pretty low. What have they been making you pay lately? Okay, cool. Yeah, if you look at what utility rates were 20 years ago until today, you'll see the drastic hikes. And if you look at real wages over the last 20 years, they're flat. And so unless you have a great paying job, your expenses are outpacing your income. That makes sense. You with me on that? Okay, cool. I'll go over that time period right then. And then in the presentation, I'll just do
Okay, so
the
that's situation. Okay. So at the door, right? That's when situation is?
yeah, there's going to be a little bit of overlap when you set the appointment and then when you're in the appointment, because you have to take the other person through it as well. But in the presentation, I'm going to do the last year alone, they went over I'm going to do 1 year, 20%.
Mhm.
Whatever. Like in California, the bill that I actually have customers bill is like over 3 years ago. It was 13 cents was the first year. And now the first year, gosh, they keep going up, man. Like the highest tier now is like 86 cents. It's just unreal.
Yeah.
But that's the best comparison for me is 3 years.
Mhm.
I already went over 20 years earlier for the presentation. I was like, yeah, over the last 3 years, they went up this.
Okay.
In the presentation. In the presentation,
Yeah.
like the numbers that favor you.
So like in the presentation, it's not like you're trying to educate, you're just trying to like reflect on their situation.
Yeah, in the presentation, it's like, okay, cool. We've all heard that analogy of you go to a doctor, right? And the doctor doesn't give you a prescription. He asks a bunch of different questions, right? And then now the doctor is going to give you a prescription. And he's explaining to you what the prescription is and why the prescription and what it's going to do for you specifically. Joseph, I'm going to give your ass Adderall because you can't focus, you son of a bitch. You know how your mom has been complaining about you not doing your homework fucking ever? Yeah, this is going to help you with that. And da. Anyways.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. There's actually look at this. So sometimes at the end, there's a concern they're not moving forward, and this is my favorite one to use is right here to flush out. Doesn't matter what you sell. The one that I just put the 100 on, awesome. To flush out what's going on. So it's like, look, John, if it's a girl, if it's a woman, you say listen. If it's a guy, you say look. So look, John, I've been doing this a very long time. If there's one thing I know, it's when I'm not really getting the full story. And then you go quiet. Now, did I ask a question? Technically, I didn't ask a question, did I? That's kind of like a statement. It's like a label, right? And what's cool about labels is it honors their autonomy more. I'm not trying to corner them with the question. If I ask you a question, you can think about how you want to respond to that question. But here, it's just an observation. I'm not saying this is the way it is. I'm making an observation. There's not a question mark on that. I just go quiet. And that quiet, they're going to feel prompted they're going to feel the need to explain themselves, which is exactly what we want. So it's like if it's a female, listen, I've been doing this a very long time. If there's one thing that I can definitely know, it's when I'm not really getting the full story. And then tone, body language, chill, and then let them fill that gap. And that one's beautiful. These are some notes I wanted to go over. So after the sale, you don't want them to cancel. There's a couple things. After they sign paperwork, like leaving, so they signed up, and let's say this guy is like an intelligence need. And it's like, I'm talking about right here. Is I'm so glad I'm sitting here with somebody that's like highly intelligent. Like I get a ton of idiots in here, and these are the people who don't know how to make decisions. They don't know what's best for them. They have no idea what they're doing in life, and they just say yes to anything. And I'm so glad to have somebody who knows that they're making a decision that they've actually weighed all the options. It's refreshing. And then that's like a passing thing that you say as you're leaving. You get for the analytical people, for the people that need to be seen as smart, if they have a freaking BMW in the damn driveway, you're saying that. or if somebody is like showing off some bling bling, they need to be seen as significant. There's a lot of people that don't make much of a difference in the world, and they tend to be the ones who regret their actions because they don't think anything through. And I'm really glad that there's not many of those people. That's a passing thing at the end that I'll say to keep them. What? Notice that these two things are. I'm glad I'm speaking to you. Like, I'm glad that you're this type of person. I not an idea, identity. We all went through COVID, and there's some crazy shit. And depending on what side you're on, like, once identity gets involved, our brain, like, I could show you thousand, like, undeniable proof, evidence. You can't deny it, but our brain won't let me see it. I literally can't physically see it. My brain won't let me because identity's got involved.
So that
And
is
so-
that pretty
and
much
so-
is that pretty much right after just docs are signed? Like they sign docs, you get it's kind
Yeah,
of like
docs are
that.
signed. My stuff's backed up. I'm like standing up. I'm like walking out. And just in passing by as I'm walking out the door, I'm so glad, hand to chest. I'm so glad I'm sitting here, somebody highly intelligent. I get a ton of idiots in here. And these are people, identity. They need to be seen a certain way. And it's way more powerful when you make it about identity. We'll go more into that here in a sec. A lot more on next week's call. Different ways to go about, I want to think about it. I want to think about it. First of all, if I get that, I know I didn't do my job. Sometimes if I know that they're going to be like super analytical and they're just going to need, I do a 2-touch right now. If I know that they're going to be a 3-touch, then I make the first touch, 10, 15 minutes. I make the second touch 20, maybe 30 minutes. And then I'll do a third touch just because I know he's going to want that. But when they say I want to think about it, there's different ways. You got Matt Ryder here. Sure, that's not a problem. Plenty of time. Just curious, what do you want to think about over the next, couple of days? Regardless of what they say, for sure. And so the reason why a suppose question is so awesome, why it works so well, is because it's just pretend. Okay, it's made up. And in this made up scenario, when you change the context, it changes their permission. Like, they can behave differently. You give them permission to behave differently when you change the context. People never say no to solar. They only say no to the context. So it's like, yeah, man, for sure. And suppose, like, there's no pressure in that. It's not, if I could show you, fuck that. Yeah, man, for sure. And suppose, like, if everything played out exactly like we talked about, like, would this be the answer for you? And sometimes you're like, yeah, and they'll start to explain, like, okay, but and almost interrupt them. Yeah, but why though? Okay, well, is there anything in particular that you feel is like the key to the castle for you to kind of get to where you are, to where you want to be? That's a Matt Ryder line that I freaking love. I met the guy for the first time finally over the weekend. He's a freaking stud. And say, okay, well, what if you don't do anything about this? How are you going to save money every month? Cool. And then that's a really good one. We've all heard miners before. It's freaking gorgeous. And I'll show you this and then how to go back into the house after this. So I want to think about it. For sure, not a problem. Appreciate that. What I can do if this helps is, if you have your calendar handy, I can pull up mine and schedule a specific time with you. That way, you don't have to chase me down and vice versa. Would that be appropriate? Okay, cool. Now, before I leave, I was just curious, just so I understand maybe, what questions to answer for you when we talk next. Like, what, I guess, was it that you were wanting to go over in your mind, just so I understand what's behind that. And then whatever they say, okay, I understand. And tell me more about why that came out. Cool. So that's money. And then if you feel like you could baby step it in, this is one way to baby step it in, where it says to stay in and close right here. Let me see. Okay, well, let me see if you're okay with this, because we're okay with measuring the roof and getting the blueprints and engineering plans back. And, at that point, we'd have to reconvene anyways, because you have to approve your final designs before they'll submit and pay for a permit. So if you don't feel comfortable, don't do it. Don't approve the CAD. If you like it, approve it. Approve it. All I ask is don't let us pay for a permit if you know you're not going to go solar. Okay. And by saying yes to that, they're actually saying yes to getting the party started. Now I don't like using that one. You should be able to get to the root cause by asking those questions. You never want to sell like on a site survey. That's the closest I'll come to selling on a site survey. Sometimes I'll say like, yeah, man, there's plenty of time. Solar's like a 2 to 3 month process, and it's not like we're even at 100%. We know about 80, 90% of what there is to know, plus we still need everyone else to give us a thumbs up. But just up to this point, would you say you're leaning towards not doing it, or do you think you're leaning more towards doing it? Great little filter question. Then the calendar. Oh, cool. What I can do if this helps, give your calendar handy, I can pull up mine, schedule a specific time. That way you don't have to like chase me down and vice versa. That'd be appropriate.
Would you probe on that, like, or would you say that you're leaning more towards doing it? And like, oh, I mean, I would say I'm leaning more towards doing it. Would you just be like, why though? Like, would you jump into that, or would you just schedule a time?
Great question. Why am I waiting? So remember earlier when I said when you change the context, you change what they have permission to do. If I'm still sitting there and they just told me that, and I'm in that same conversation, and I'm trying to overcome that objection in that same conversation, the context hasn't changed, has it? But if I'm like, okay, cool, you won, I threw in the towel, awesome, and then I set the appointment, I'm standing up, literally gather my stuff, standing up, walking out the door. It's like, now before I leave, just curious, just so I understand maybe what questions to answer for you when we talk next. Like, what was it that you were wanting to go over in your mind, just so I understand what's behind that? Not think about, go over in your mind. You want to not trigger that. You careful. There's so many things that we do that trigger. The brain is lazy. Okay. It looks for shortcuts. It does not want to do any critical thinking ever. Okay. And so it's always looking for patterns. And the moment that I can put you in a box, I am, which also means I'm not going to go through all the cognitive steps to process something properly. And that's actually the definition of what a bias is. So I want to avoid that. And you can simply avoid it by saying, go over in your mind versus think about. That's going to trigger something completely different in his head versus go over in your mind. So now before I leave, I was just curious, just so I understand maybe, what questions to answer for you when we talk next, like what was it you're wanting to go over in your mind, just so I understand what's behind that.
Is there one that you find yourself falling into like the most frequent? Would you say you fall into Jeremy's a lot? Do you feel like you've been finding yourself falling into Matthew's a lot?
What ends up coming out of my mouth is this one. What? It's this one, calendar, cool. And then depending on that, I'll either go back or you can baby step it. That's one of the ways to baby step it. Is okay, well, let me see if you're okay with this, because we're okay with. And then I also, I'm like, yeah, you can see the consultation down here. It's the first one. First step is to see, like which, if any of the programs like actually like help you. See if it's worth submitting an application, not sign a contract. See if it's worth submitting an application. And then they do a survey on the house, make sure it meets all the program requirements, structural, electrical, house grounded properly, no mold, asbestos, things like that. And then you'll get a design review. And then I have actual CAD. That's Freedom's pay scale, if you're wondering. It'll be about 2 weeks before you get your final design. This is not your final design. This is what a final design looks like. At this point is when we'll know 100% that we can go solar. We'll have pre-approval from the utility company. the structural, we know for sure. Doesn't mean we can install, but we know for sure. That gets emailed to you. You have to approve that email. They're not going to pay for a permit unless you approve the design. So like all I ask is just don't let us pay for a permit if you know this isn't going to work for you. So if I baby step it, that's one way that I'll baby step it. If I did my job right, I don't have to do that. But that's a good way to get them. Good way to get them over the edge.
One more question out of curiosity. I know I was talking with Sam the other day, and he was talking a lot about how you're always looking to kind of simplify your process, whether like make things quicker, easier on the back end. Is there any like changes that you've noticed? Like, hey, I do like getting these docs done or all docs done now, and then just later coming back and having them like approve the layout or whatever. Like, is there anything that you've noticed that you'd like to do to speed up installs, just to make things smoother for customers, not canceling, anything like that?
I heard a couple questions in there, so if I don't answer the question that you were wanting, let me know. So customers not canceling is going to come from you getting emotion. If you get the emotion, you'll get the deal. You get the emotion by listening like a motherfucker and peeling every layer of the onion. Not rushing with your solution, staying detached, neutral languaging, right? And simple's huge. You'd be literally a first grader can understand my presentation because it's just literally like, this is your house, you know, like Solo has a design or whatever, you have a design, and then utility debt. I go from there to utility debt calculator. And then if it's a loan, then I need to break down the ITC. I can put the numbers right. And then back to the little draw page where over 10 years, instead of this, it's this, instead of this, it's this. Like it needs to be, I see all these graphs. I'm like, dude, I just get over freaking whelmed. We tend to think that people think like we think. And so an analytical guy, he's like, this is his presentation. It's like, bro, like you're killing me. Like everybody doesn't think like you think, you know? And even when you're at the beginning of the presentation and they're giving you kind of a hard time about like opening up. And it's like, look, I know some of these questions just have to come across as like stupid, like dumb and almost like manipulative. Like when someone says saving money, like a lot of times it's a spouse right in front of me. Like the last time I met with, the husband is like super analytical. So what do you think saving money looks like to him? He's like, what's the total cost? How soon can I not have a bill? You know? And then the spouse is more like me, which is like, what's the lowest bill that I can have? You know? So she's determining saving money by lowest bill, and this guy's determining saving money by like what's the total cost. Two completely different questions. No right or wrong. It's just whatever's important to you. And so what a lot of the homeowners like about solar is that you can have preferences. Some people don't care about the savings. They just want to always have power. Some people need the tax, incentives. Some people don't. Some people want to pay cash and be done. Some people want to own it, lock it in, eventually not have a bill. Some people want the lowest bill. There's no right or wrong. You can talk to two people, it's sort of two different ways, and they're both completely happy. And they got two completely different results. And so at that point, they're like, oh, okay, cool. Like that will help them lower their guard, open up, so that you can see how they're seeing it and how they determine value, how they determine what saving money looks like to them. And we need to get them to share their ideas. Like they come to us and they have this idea in their head. We need to get them to share that. That's why, if you notice, like with ADPQ, when I first came across it, you never make assumptions. You're like, curious, tell me more about that. Okay, can I ask why is that so important to you now, though? Well, like, what's having us talk to you? Like, ask questions around it to get them to verbalize, because people don't know what they want. And especially with solar, they're not fully aware of all the consequences of their situation. And so you have to get them to verbalize this idea that they have in their head. One, they're not going to feel heard. And then two, they're not going to feel that you're the one that can help them with that. But if I do get you to be able to share your ideas through tonality, body language, neutral languaging, asking questions, then you feel like I can actually, I know your situation and I can give you closure for that idea. If I don't have that, I can't give you closure for that idea. So homeowners, that's probably the biggest mistake that keeps people from signing up, is at the beginning, they didn't get closure on the initial idea of what solar is. Solar has different purposes. There's different outcomes. There's no right or wrong. I'm here to help you if we can. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. So like in order, like priority wise, like would you say is like more important? So like lowest monthly bill, not having a bill, like just not having, how soon can I not have a bill? Tax, always have power. There's no right or wrong, but like if you had to put it in order, like what would your like priorities be? And then when they tell you the priorities, you don't move on to the next. You want to find out why. And you want to be able to ask the word why without using the word why.
So if their priority was like, oh, our biggest thing isn't really the savings, it's just being independent. It's like, well, okay, so why is that so important to you though?
So independent, do you know what that means? Independent. We have an idea. We want them to share that idea. So the best is mirroring. Independent, upper tonality, independent. Mirrors honor people's autonomy more than questions do. So mirrors, people do it all the time. It's insane. And when you mirror it, you'll feel the need to explain yourself, say it in a different way so that I can understand it. And that when you mirror it, literally doesn't even travel through the brain the same way. It literally gets processed in the brain differently. If you don't get the information, if you need the clarity that you need, then play back, clarify. When you say independent, what do you mean independent? Tell me more about what you mean by that exactly. Play back, clarify. Okay, cool, got it. And what's important to you about that? I'm curious. Is that a why? That's not a why question. That's a what question. You'll get way less resistance from these analytical people if there's times when you do want to use why, but not when you're trying to get information out of them at this point. So, okay, got it. And what is important to you about that? I'm curious.
So if you were on a door and someone said something like that, like if let's say you got to the point where you're like talking about savings and someone said something small like that, like, oh, I just, I probably wouldn't even really do it for the savings. Like I would do it for like a small little, I don't even know what you'd call it, something small like that. Would you just jump on that on the door, like kind of start probing on that because that could get you an appointment?
Yeah, he's telling you you're hot, but he's telling you what's important to him. And so Amir you'll get more information out of Amir, dude, especially on the door stats, because it's such a crazy, there's a lot going on. And he'll be asked a question without him even knowing he was asked a question. And they blurt out information, protected information that they would sometimes like to keep to themselves. And what's even more genius is making a false statement about it. So the need to correct to get more information out of it. Oh, so not interested. I get it. Is it? Yeah, credit sounds like credit was an issue. You have bad credit. That for some reason that's like the most sensitive topic to people is the credit one. It's freaking hilarious, and they will blurt out reasons why, which is cool. You're like, yep, I'm with you, 100%. That's actually exactly why I'm here. Like, oh god, sounds like credit was an issue for you. I get it. It's like, no, I got 700 credit. Like they're gonna like without thinking. I freaking promise. They're going to blurt out, which is good. We need more information. We need to see how they're seeing it. And then you agree 100%. I'm with you. And that's actually exactly why I'm here. I'm not saying we could, but if we could, like we did for John, instead of this, it'd be this. I don't know if I could do that for you. You should probably ask back into it. So on the doorstep, yeah, mirror, absolutely. You're trying to set an appointment that's going to stick. All that matters is what matters to them.
How do you avoid it with one-leggers? Like if you're talking to a wife, it's 4 p.m., husband's not home yet, and she's just like, yeah, like we'd sit down. It's like, how do you get those to stick the best? Or is it like, are you only knocking like certain hours where like both of them are home?
Oh, no, the majority are set with one leggers. The hardest part of the job is getting both people home. Yeah, it'd be a dream if both of them were there.
Yeah.
You know.
So I mean, if you're talking with a wife, like, how do you try and like solidify it where the husband will be there? Like, okay, he comes home 5:30 usually. Okay, so like tomorrow around 6. She's like, sure, yeah, let's do tomorrow around 6. Why? Maybe you could answer like, why do they usually? I'm sure it's like the husband comes home, wife is like, oh, nice kid, wanted to go over solar, and he's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to sit down for a solar appointment. Is that probably usually what happens? So like, how do you try and avoid that the best way possible?
We literally get into that next week. For the short answer, your door approach should make it so that appointment sticks, and then the words that you actually say to set the appointment isn't going to be a option close. Like that's gross. That communicates that you only give a fuck about yourself and not them. So it's like, okay, cool. Well, with your permission, I'd like to suggest as the next step is that we, put together a report to see if this is something that could actually work for your situation. And then if they're like hesitant like that, I would do a takeaway because, to be frank, I'm not quite sure we could. Yeah, would that be appropriate? And then the appointments are way stickier with that. And then after the appointment's set, you're like, okay, cool, be over here. Now this is in a playful, sarcastic tone. And Minor actually has it scripted out, and I'm waiting for that bastard to put this on his. He's gonna have like a new solar portal. I don't know what he's gonna do with it, but it was for. Hopefully, it wasn't exclusively for power, but it was hilarious. I was dying. I was laughing in the freaking role play. I think I even fell out of the damn scene, the damn camera. I was laughing so hard. He's like, now tell me, like, because I'm going to have an appointment. I'll be here at 7. Cool. I'll be coming from John's house. We just had an install. I have to swing by hand. It's about 6 miles away. Okay, cool. So tell me, you're not going to be one of those people. Like, I come back and you're going to make it all. You spoke to your spouse and you're gonna like make it all awkward. I like knock on the door and you're not gonna answer. It's gonna be all weird. You're not like one of those people. Like I did that shittily, but like it's lighthearted, it's playful. No, okay, so if I'm gonna be driving all the way over here to show you how much I can save you, you're not gonna be like one of those people where it's like I knock and you don't answer and it's like all weird because your spouse came home and like gave you the velvet slap on the face for me to slow you. You're not one of those, right? Like that's identity. And you're calling that out. So any behavior you want to eliminate, you bring to light. Bring darkness to light. My friend is like the number one trial consultant. He offers a 300% money back guarantee, and he hasn't lost a case yet. So lawyers pay him a fuck ton. And when the other side is like using whatever technique or strategy, he'll literally stand up and be like, oh, that's interesting that you guys used XYZ technique that's designed to make the jury feel XYZ. I'm sure that was really effective. Which just erases all whatever persuasion I might have had, right? Because he brought it to light. So what do we need to bring to light? Like we're setting an appointment. We want that appointment to stick. What we know, if they speak to the spouse that's not there, that doesn't know shit about it, the least informed person about it is putting the kibosh on it. So we want to bring that behavior to light. And we want to make it about identity, not idea. So cool. So I'll be over at John's. Okay, cool. I'll swing by. So if I'm driving over here to show you how much I can save you, you're not going to be like one of those people where it's just like a knock. It's like you spoke to your spouse, and you're not going to answer, and it's like all weird and awkward. You're not one of those, right? Okay, cool. And then yeah, but if you do a good job of listening, not rushing with your freaking solution, send an actual appointment script instead of either or, it'll be a lot better.
Can I ask a
Learning
question
little-
on that? Can I ask a question on that topic? Pretty similar too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in a different industry, but we're the average 3 or 4 meeting closes. If you sit with a spouse and good meeting,
if you sit with the spouse, okay.
yeah, with one member of the couple, you do your presentation, you've got it, and obviously you have to meet the other one because my relationships on average last 15 years in my industry, so they're going to want to have the spouse on board, of course. At what point, do you always run through your same presentation again for the other spouse? And or does it become too redundant or like, okay, they're going to get half of this couple's going to be kind of annoyed at this point because they've already heard it,
Yeah, great question. So like in solar, I'm setting the appointment. Like when I set the appointment, the door approach is going to have some connected questions. It's going to have some situation questions and some problem awareness questions. And then now we need to take the spouse through the same process, and you don't want it to sound scripted. So you can say the same thing. You can phrase the question differently. A lot of times we actually do this naturally somebody, it's like, dude, you asked for that, but they ask that same question different ways. And so, or you can save a couple of questions only for when both spouses are there. And then it's like, okay, but like the actual read, it's like, okay, cool. Like, remind me again, I have Alzheimer's, whatever, or I have a hard time reading my notes. Remind me again, like how long have you guys been home for? Okay, that's right. And the main reason, like, I know you're, and then another thing is that I use is like different things are important to different people. And so it's like, there's no right or wrong, just different things are important to different people. People are bugged by different things. If you're married, you know this, right? So it's like your spouse mentioned, like the rate hikes. I don't want to assume anything. Like when it comes to your electric bill, like what do you like about it? Possibly don't like about it. Tell me more about why that came out. Is there anything else you don't like about that? Okay, cool. And then you can kind of include the spouse that way. But as far as the lead, it's like, okay, cool. Remind me again. Cool. Being home for this. Okay. And then what was like, okay, good to know. And then, or you can go more in depth. But if you can rephrase a couple, so the problem awareness actually starts a little bit in the situation questions with solar, because their situation is stuck in never-ending contract with the power company that can raise the rates as much as they want whenever they want. They're forced to pay it till they'll die, or they'll put a lien on the house. Power grid's 130 years old. It's kind of like popsicle. You ever made popsicle sticks, like a house out of popsicle sticks? Like, no shit. Like, it's just like, what the shit? So, but that's the situation, right? But it's also a problem. You see how that starts to blend the two.
Yeah.
So on the doorstep, I won't go through like all of that. If I need to, I will. And then when I get in the house, okay, remind me again, been in the house this long, so I don't want to assume anything. Different things are important to different people. Like your spouse mentioned, like he didn't think it was cool that the utility could just like raise the rates over here. Curious to hear your perspective. Like what is it about this that's working for you, possibly not working for you?
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, let me see something real quick. Share something.
I have a question.
Fire away.
What do you say when they ask about like the return on investment
Come again?
or the return on investment? Like how long will it take me to like basically recoup the money, which is about like 8 to 10 years. But is you going through the utility calendar and showing them the savings, is that what bypasses the question? Do you not get that question at all?
I might get that on the doorstep as an objection. Like, yeah, I looked into it, just the ROI is not there. I might get that on the doorstep. I don't, in the presentation, I can't think. I literally, I don't, but I hate giving that answer. So
At the door, what do you do?
So the first thing I would do, I say ROI, mirror it. ROI? Because so for him to be asking that question, he's seeing it a certain way.
Mhm.
which way do you think he's seeing it, right? So the first thing is always mirror. You'll get more off of a mirror
Okay.
than it's insane. It's fucking retarded. I got buddies that I do these blitzes with, and they're fucking killers, and it takes me about 5 times with them fucking before I catch on to them, like, you fucker, and they just do it to fuck with me. It drives me nuts. But what's good about clarifying or mirroring, getting more information, is now you're more qualified in their eyes to actually respond to that question, right? They were able to verbalize the ideas in their head. You're the only one that can give them closure on that idea. If you don't get them to share their idea about like why they asked that, then that's still open. And if that's still open, there's unresolved concerns. So Sam Greener, he would get that. And this is what he has, which I like. You see how much for their customer ROI? So after you clarify or mirror, you'll get more information. And he's like, we're not really talking about return on investment in the traditional sense. Like we're talking about an avoided cost by spending money up front. Like, how do you think of return of investment? Or we're not really talking about return on investment like in the traditional sense. We're talking about avoided cost. Like, you're not going to be making a 10% return on solar every month like you are with some of the investments. Like, we're talking about spending money to save money in the long run. How do you look at ROI?
I like that. Cool.
And then they're not, they can't, that graph over 10 years, that comparison, that focused comparison, they're not thinking ROI if they have that over in front of their face.
Okay. And before you said, show them the savings over the next 10 years, but like do that before showing them the monthly numbers. But then after you said design, then the utility calendar, then you said financing, then savings.
Wait. You give it a little bit. So you have the presentation. That's what today's
right
on. So it's like cool when the first numbers is so just as a rule of thumb, obviously what they're going to be over 10 years, right? But when they're like, do you use Solo? Like, what design software are you using?
Aurora.
Okay, so you'll have that pulled up, like the design of the house, but only have it on the design. I know everyone has their own proposals. They all drive me crazy. I'll use whatever they have, Aurora or Solo or Titan or whatever to show the house and only the house. And then after, so you have the house on cue, and then you have the utility debt calculator.
Is that when you also show them the difference in savings on the calendar?
I have
like
the sheet that I write. Yeah, I have that notebook with the line down the middle, and I'll have it written down here. So I have those on. Come on. I'm writing everything on this, but I have those queued up. Like I'll have Solo, and then I'll have the debt calculator, and then I'll have this, and I'm writing it all on this, so they can see it. So they're not really questioning this because they can see it from the debt calculator. And I'll have like over 10 years, and so it's like cool. Like, this is the house over the next 10 years. Instead of this, it'd be this. Cool. Your design, your house is this. So I just design, and then you have the utility debt calculator, and then you have the comparison right here. That's in front of them.
Okay.
Sounds like you have a reason for asking that, which is a great fucking label. Sounds like you have a reason for asking that. Sounds like you have a reason for saying that. So sounds like you have a reason for asking that. Samantha, I'm asking, why'd you ask that?
Oh, you're asking me. Okay, I was like,
I said it, and then I was like, it's a great way. It's an awesome way to ask a question without asking a question.
It's
Yeah.
no, because in general, it's hard for me to know exactly what I'm supposed to be presenting in my presentation, like taking out the bad habits from the last company and putting in good habits with you guys. And I don't feel like I can get everything from the female side just because they don't sell solar, and the way you present solar and other products are very different. So I want to just make sure I'm presenting it in order that's conducive to the client.
Yeah, I keep it almost embarrassingly simple. Like you have the design,
Mhm.
and then the debt calculator, and then
And then
this.
write down the key points with the savings on it.
Yeah. So I have the 10 years, 1 to 10, 1 to 10, 25, 25, savings over 10, saving what your bill is. And they've seen it on the debt calculator. So it's like this, the design of the system. I have the debt calculator, and then I write on here what the debt calculator is. And your job is to keep that comparison in front of them at all times.
Mhm.
There's not anything more important than having that in front of them at all times. The only way that they would be asking some of these objections is if that's not in front of their face. They can't see 100 grand and sell the bill versus 80 grand and no bill, or 50 grand and no bill. Like, what's my ROI? ROI? And then like, yeah, like, well, how do you mean when you say ROI? Like, and a lot of times a good time when you feel it's a loaded question, it's like, it just depends. Can I ask why you ask that? When we feel we're asking question A to get an answer to question B, a lot of times we can pick up on that. The fail safe is it just depends. Can I ask why you asked that? Or you can answer it the way that they think they're asking it, and then ask, just curious, can I ask why you asked that? But that it's when anytime you feel a loaded question, like it just depends. Can I ask why I asked that? That one book's credit selling that Miner suggested, gave that example. This chick selling knives, I think in Costco. Guy comes up, it's like, hey, how sharp are your knives? So we got the sharpest knives out there. They can cut through this and this and this. And it's like, oh shoot, like I'm wanting to buy a set of knives for my daughter. I'm afraid she's going to cut herself. Have a good day. And because we hear the objection 1,000 times, we think we know why they're asking, and we freaking don't. And that assumption costs so many bills.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a direct question, let alone a loaded one. You know, what happens when I move? There's actually quite a few options. It kind of just depends. Can I ask why you asked the moving question? Yeah, da 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 da. Okay, cool. In that situation, da da da. And they're like, well, what happens if I want to cancel 5 years down the road? Cancel 5 years down the road? So, okay. It's like, well, so right now everything's in writing. Like you're paying this to get this. So if anything other than this happens, we broke our agreement and there is no agreement. You see the value in that? You're probably not worried that your mortgage is going to come back a different amount next month. So why aren't you worried about that? So that's a great way to, and people that ask that are like in this, they're scared shitless. Okay. And they're going to make a decision out of fear, which means they ain't seeing shit clearly. And you haven't done a good enough job of scaring the shit out of them. And a great way is like, cool, suppose this. So when you change the context, it's so powerful. You can get so much out of it in these made up scenarios, whether it's like everybody has solar and I knocked on your door and what would I have to say to you to rip the panels off, charge you 40% more, and you couldn't pay it off, and I could raise it on you as much as I want whenever I want? Like, what would I have to say to you to convince you to do that? Like, you see that context, they see it.
Mm-hmm.
You know how like paint pictures in their head, the brain works off of images. So it's like, cool. Suppose it works out, instead of $100, it's going to be $90. Like, this just guarantees that you'd never have a higher bill than $90 today, tomorrow, 2 years. Fast forward 10 years from now, what is it, 2023? It's 2033. I got a bunch of Botox and lip fillers looking all sexy. My bill is still $90. Like summer, $90. This $90. Like, so fast forward to that time, and then from that angle, describe the situation so that they're in it. And these made up scenarios are very powerful. You're changing the context, which is one of the most effective ways to change how they're seeing solar, because we're changing their perception. If you change their perception, then it gives them permission to behave differently because we respond to what we see. Cool. Yeah, next week we're going to start at the door approach in the beginning. Got some good shit for you guys. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm here in Phoenix, and the market over here, there's some areas that were more saturated than any market I've been in America. And so I had to definitely pull out some bag of tricks to be able to get some shit rolling out here. And so I can't wait to share it.
Welcome to Arizona, man.
Hey, Joseph.
Yeah, baby.
Joseph,
Hey.
where's that utility debt calculator? Isn't that in one of the files?
My buddy, yeah. So what you have to do, my bad. So my buddy made it for me, and it wasn't working for me. And he's like, you need to make a copy of it. Once you make a copy of it, then you can like edit it.
Right.
Yeah.
I know. Where is it located? Or can you post it right now and make a copy and so I can edit it?
I should be able to.
Please and thank you.
Yeah. Let me see. How was it sent out to everybody last time?
I was just looking for it. I couldn't find it. I
It
thought
wasn't sent out. I
You
asked them to
sent
send it
it.
out and I
Same
did my
one.
own.
Say that again, Samantha.
I was saying like last time we asked you to send it out and you kind of didn't, and then I ended up making my own.
and it says you need access to Google Sheets. So
Is there a way? I'm the worst at this shit. Is there a way for me to send it and not have it all this permission crap?
Yeah, you should be able to set it up, and then we can copy it and then edit it. But I don't know how to do that.
You guys do have access to that like junk drawer script that's just full of a bunch of shit, right? Would it be possible? Could that be a link that could be attached to that document?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Samantha, you have it. So that Google Sheet, is there like, so on the sheet that we have, like this, like the junk drawer script
The
that everyone has access.
47 page thing.
Uh,
Yeah, what about it?
The 47 page thing, is that the junk drawer where it's just like a bunch of random?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a way to, there should be a way to take the debt calculator and have it on that, so it's something that they can click on that, or is that no?
Are you asking me to put my debt calculator onto?
No, I'm asking if it's possible. If it's possible, then I'll have my buddy do it.
You might
Help
still
me with
need
it.
access because the host, whoever owns that sheet, right, needs to make it so that everyone has permission to edit it at all times. So regardless how you get to that link, it doesn't necessarily
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Cool.
I got it here.
And then also,
During part of my drive. Okay. Copy of utility bill calculator.
And then my buddy's he's making another one because that one doesn't have what the monthly amount will be at year 10, year 25. And he's gonna like tweak that, and then I'll start using that one. That'd probably be the only thing that I'd add to it.
And then the other one, the next one that was posted is a different one down below. So you got the one that you use, that's that I have, and then below that, the second link that's posted here is one that's more colorful and easier to see, easier for the customer to understand.
Yeah, less is always more. The shocking truth sounds salesy to me. Like it sounds like an infomercial. But you want
the plain Jane one is fine, right? Just to show that. Like
this would be totally fine, but I would have it like the shocking truth. That's just, I think that's salesy.
The copy of the utility bill calculator, the one that you showed, is sufficient.
Yeah, that was sufficient. I think this one, I would just keep it as simple as possible. Like from the homeowner's point of view, there's so much going on. Like they're having classes they haven't had before. I don't want to overwhelm them. Like you see these graphs, and if you want to confuse somebody, pull a damn calculator and say kilowatts. They're already overwhelmed. let alone all these fucking graphs. And everybody says these fucking graphs, like you just keep it simple. So all they need, like even that was like a little much. I would have less on that damn screen.
Yeah, but then that's why you use your paper. You show your 10-year savings and the 10-year projected cost. Is why you do the line down the middle of the paper to show that and keep that in front of them, right? Basically,
Yeah,
keep,
like yes. What is that? Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. No, is that what is that quote? Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Who said that?
I never heard that
Somebody
before.
smart. Somebody smart said that, and I'm regurgitating some shit. Paraphrasing. Yeah, keep it simple. Don't have all these numbers. They're going to have they're overwhelmed. The brain can only handle so much. And like the decision, the entire time, the decision is this versus this. That's the whole fucking decision.
Yeah.
The decision is this versus this. Throughout every stage, that's the decision. They need to be seeing it through that lens. That's what's being determined, and they need to see it. So even on the doorstep, like, I'm not saying that if maybe I'm not saying we could, but instead of this in the next 10 years, this. It's like, do you really want to throw away 20 grand? Do you really want to blow 20 grand over the next, 10 years on an electric bill? Like, it's always 10 years is the sweet spot that I found. And it's always that comparison. Like solar, yeah, instead of this, it's this over 10 years, over 25 years. Like, you want to do anything and everything you can as soon as you can and throughout the entire process. When they're comparing apples to apples, that's the big one as far as numbers go.
Right.
And then nothing in writing, lower this, that. And then yeah, that's the presentation. Your job as a presentation is just to keep that comparison in front of them.
Joseph, so for the presentation stage, everything we went through, is it possible to like copy paste it into the chat?
Yeah, what I'll do, because there's two of them. It only lets me copy and paste so much. Give me one sec. We'll see what it carries over. I'm gonna break this out. Let me see. And we're still okay. So we got half of step one. Let me see. What the heck? Come on. Let me get the S on the side. It's making me delete that whole thing before I paste the other thing in there. That's what I'm done.
Would it help if I made a Google Doc? I have it all, and then I just post it in the chat.
You're the man.
Yeah, I got you.
I'd love you forever. Yeah. Who's helping me out there? Nick, you're the man.
Amazing, thank you.
Yeah, and there's like a couple different like word, because we always hear something a little bit different, and you're always making like these little tweaks, right? And so it's like, if somebody has like a high bill, it's like $500. It's like, it's like, do you really want like $500 coming out of your account every month on an electric bill? Or if they have a low bill, like $100 over 10 years, that's going to be a big amount, right? So it's like, do you really want to have to spend 20 grand on a, it's cool to blow money and all, but not on an electric bill. And so change what they compare it to. And so we had fun with that the other day. Like, I'm all about blowing 20 grand, it's cool. But on an electric bill, and
Would
it
you
keeps them from flexing about being cool with being cool with paying more for power. That's not cool.
would you use that in the doors? The spending money on the electric bill?
Yeah, over 10 years. It's like, that's it. We could, like, yeah, like, do you really want 20 grand? Do you really want to blow 20 grand over the next like 8 to 10 years on an electric bill?
Sounds like that'd be like a last resort, got too not interested type of thing. Or what
Yeah,
would
it can be used at much different places. But yeah, I'm not saying we could, like, you never catch, I don't know if it's because or not. That she just helped her out. Like, she didn't want to like blow 20 grand on an electric bill the next like 10 months, you know? And so it doesn't have to, you can put it anywhere.
Joseph, I had someone who said they didn't want to continue with the PPA because let's say they moved in 5 years and we're using Everbright. One of the stipulations is if the new homeowner does not want the PPA, they would have to prepay all the payment penalties, right? I know there's a lack of value there, but what would you have said there?
So the that question was asked from a homeowner's point of view, not a buyer's point of view. It doesn't matter my perspective. It doesn't matter your perspective, Mr. Prospect. All that matters is the buyer's point of view. Do they want to buy this house if they didn't have electric? So like on PPA, dude, they can roll it into the mortgage, dude, and not have a bill. Like, and then like they could take it with it. They can roll it. You can roll it into a mortgage. Mortgage goes up a little bit, and then no more electric bill. Like, you shouldn't be getting that. So it's like, yeah, if they qualify for it, it's like, cool. Are they going to be Amish?
True.
Like, so it's like they're buying the house, and then it's like a good thing is like, huh? Like, can I ask where that came from? Like, did you come across some like study that like suggested that, or how did you arrive at thinking that somebody would like to pay more for power than actually have to?
Yeah, makes sense. Okay.
So it's like, can I ask how that was arrived at? Like, was there like some study, some quote that you came across, or like how did you arrive at thinking that? I'm just curious. Because if they go to Redfin, if they go to any Zillow, just Google it. There's a shit ton of articles, you know, and it's the most illogical thing ever. Like, they're literally saying, yes, 100 grand, sell the bill, or 50 grand, no bill. On the PPA, you can pay it off in what, 5 years, I think, on Everbright.
Yeah, 5 years.
So it's a smarter way to go about owning it at the moment, because interest rates on loans a lot of times are like absolutely ridiculous. So it's like, pay less, lock it in, and then wait 5 years, wait for the system to depreciate, and then you can buy it then. Like, when you buy a brand new truck, and you drive it off the lot, how much money did you just lose? Okay, was that smart? I'm guilty. I don't regret it, but love me a big truck. But it's like, cool, like everything depreciates. Okay, so what makes more sense? Like, pay less now, and then buy the exact same thing. Solar is electricity. It's producing the exact same amount of electricity at year 5 as it is year 1. After 20 years, it's still producing at 92% efficiency. So you're literally paying for the same thing. So it's like damn near half off. Like, the system depreciates 6% a year. You know, 6 times 5, it'll at least be 30% less. And it'll probably be, depending on who the PPA's through, it could be even more than that off for the exact same thing. So it's a smarter way of going about owning it a lot of times. Or if I'm going against a loan, if somebody's signed up for a loan, then I'll use that angle. If it's a loan, we'll use a different angle, but
Yeah. I
but yeah.
didn't know, you never thought of that you could roll into the mortgage, but there's some things I don't know that I haven't come across. So I'm just learning it, but the PPA, I've only done it for 7 months, but this has been very valuable. So, okay.
Yeah, there's no lien on the house. The Sonova and Sunrun and Bright Oak, they don't put a lien on it, and they don't make them qualify credit wise. I haven't
Right.
found out about Everbright yet. I want to say Everbright's the same, but I haven't looked into that yet. And then, yeah, it's an electric bill. Like, are they going to be Amish? Okay, so they're going to be buying electricity. Okay, cool. So, like, how much do you want to pay? But when they first asked the question, they're like, just clarify, like, huh? Like, okay, like, help me understand, like, where's this coming from? Like, did you like come across a study? Because there's been a ton of studies that have been done on this. Like, I'm just curious how you arrived at thinking that. I'm just wondering. I'm
Yeah,
like,
'cause I
no,
like
it's just an idea. Oh, no shit. You're thinking out of your ass. Go figure. It's like, oh, okay. Well, if you look here, because they just freaking Googled it, dude. And if you keep the numbers in front of them,
Sweet. Yeah. I used Marco's approach to objection handling, which I guess it's Jeremy's is the same thing, but there's just stuff I didn't know. So,
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, yeah. There's no reason why I should. Anyways, yeah. Gosh, I need it. I'm behind. You guys are awesome. Next week we'll have some freaking gems, some new shit for the doors to help you guys. Put in a little bag of tricks. But yeah, write down whatever questions you guys have read, whatever objections you get. I want to know. No one's told me the actual specific objection that they get. And I don't want you to have to think back in your head, like record it and know exactly what was said, like verbatim, word for word, what the homeowner said. Like if you didn't get the deal, I want to know why. And I want to be able to hear that exactly why. And you need to be able to hear that. Like we're humans, man. We got blind spots all over the place. Somebody says this and we hear something completely else all the time. And we're unaware of it. So, and it does not have to be that way. So for whatever reason that they did not go solar, like that exact, like we need to know exactly verbatim what was said. And there's no reason there's no reason you should be doing 10, 20 of these a freaking week, like straight up with the offerings that there are. And if people just look at it and to be able to just take them through.
Quick question, Joseph. How long does your presentation usually start? I'm talking from like the beginning of situation questions with both the spouses to the end, saying, "Is this the answer for you?" What would you say on average? Obviously, it
A
depends.
PP, on a PPA, 43 minutes.
Okay.
With the caveat of no fucking technical difficulties.
Right.
And they
Yes.
have emails and that are easily accessible.
I
Right.
sent you recording on Messenger, so if you ever want to use me as a sacrificial lamb, I was able to close it, but I realized how much I have left to work on. But it's been very helpful. So thank you. Yeah.
No, of course, of course. I want to help. Like, there's no reason why you guys are in my fucking class. My name's on this shit. You ain't kicking fucking ass. Like, you gotta let me know. Like, I got data full, apps full, so much fucking one-liners from Minor over the years. I've cried. My sensitive fucking ass cried, and I just keep them like, this motherfucker got me. This motherfucker. You don't have to do it. Let me know exactly what the fuck they say. Let me help me help you. Anyways, love you guys. Let's get it.
Thanks, Joseph.
Thanks, Joseph.
Yeah.